Skipping the intro, you already know what time it is. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another random recap. In this video, I'll be talking about the 2026 NFL running back draft class. I'll say we were definitely spoiled in 2025 by the talents we got. So because of that, 2026 had to take a dip. Which is not the strongest class, but there are some interesting names. I went over the ones I found the most interesting. There were some I wanted to put into this video, but I didn't want to make the video much longer than it already is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over each player. I'm going to give you their strengths, weaknesses, and I'm just going to give you my overall thoughts on where I think they end up in the league. Disclaimer before we do get into the video. I am not a professional, by all means. This video is all strictly my opinion. I'm sure I'm not going to get every detail perfect for each prospect, but you can bet at least I tried. If I forget to mention a strength or a weakness about a player that you know, please comment down below in the comments. I would like to hear what you have to think about these prospects. I put a lot of time into this, so I would appreciate it if you gave it your listen. All I do ask is if you are new here, please subscribe. It does help the channel and does get my name out there more. Now, with that being said, let's get into the 2026 NFL running back draft class. First up, we have Jeremiyah Love, the trophy piece of the 2026 NFL draft. In a class that's mostly headlighted by defensive pieces, Love is the clear runaway best defensive player. Plenty. And I mean plenty of teams wish they could have the pleasure to add towards their run game. It's unfortunate for most though, he's not slipping anywhere past the top 10. Because people are realizing this isn't some fluke back who's not going to live up to being a top 10 pick. They know and they're fully aware Love is the real deal. And is if not one of the most complete running back prospects since God knows when. With Love, you know what you're snagging. And that's an absolute bell cow who's a walking nightmare for the defenses at every level. The way Love combines elite burst, acceleration, and top-end speed with incredible vision and has the ability to make defenders miss in multiple ways. Either putting you on skates, putting you in the ground, spinning around you. I've even seen him hurdle some poor bastard. He's gonna do whatever is necessary to clear the way. And that's just what makes him so great. He doesn't need a top-tier O-line to create the opportunity, although Notre Dame was pretty damn good. But he can just do it himself, and the stats don't lie. He makes the best out of every carry he's given, producing nearly 1,400 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns just last season, staying under 200 carries, which is a crazy-ass stat itself, averaging about 7 yards a carry. And it gets even crazier, seeing he's got nearly 2,900 rushing yards and 36 touchdowns just at 433 carries. Wild. And the reason it's probably like that is because, I kid you not, Love is a back that feels like he can house the ball on just about every carry. I went to get a drink during one of their drives in the Boston College game where the ball is at their own 10-yard line. I'm pretty sure the clip already showed in the highlights. I come back. They were up 7 because Love just ran it for 94 yards. 94! He saw the little hole through the gap and it's gone. Ain't a damn defender catching this, man, unless you're just as fast as Love himself, which good fucking luck. Once those jets get turned on, it's all gas, no brakes. He didn't run a 4.36 at 212 pounds just because he's another back. Love is special, and if you don't believe it, he'll happily show your defense after the first few carries when he's turning a 5-yard gain into a 40-yard explosion down the field on just his 4th attempt. You feed him, he's gonna go out there and he's gonna have a field day. Just an elite talent from top to bottom who's got plenty of room left for growth, which is why he's a pick you can't afford to miss on. Like, who knows what his ceiling actually is, not to mention he's also a great receiving option, logging back-to-back 200-yard seasons with 6 receiving touchdowns. You can line him in the slot, run precise routes, and turn screen passes into big gains down the field. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. He is the RB1 and would be the RB1 in most classes. Talent like him just doesn't come around often, and any team would be lucky to get him. Some for the greater good, like the Rams that they somehow trade up. Him ending up there is just a math equation to tell everyone else, hey, get fucked. Or even the Tennessee, Washington, the run game they don't have. He is the upgrade they're looking for. I mean, his skill set will just fit anywhere perfectly. So with that said, let's get into Love, strengths, and weaknesses, and I'll tell you my overall thoughts. For anyone that's even seen a second of Jeremiyah Love, or a matter of fact, just even seen the combine, you'll know the speed is not a lie. I already went over it already. If Love can get a lane, it's a wrap. He can take it to the crib from anywhere on the field within the blink of an eye. His speed is on par already with some of the elites in the league, if not even better. Pure game changer. For a guy with his speed, he runs way tougher than you'd expect. He's bouncing off hits, finding ways to keep his legs moving even if it means dragging defenders, and is fighting through traffic all rather than going down on first contact. Riding with momentum, displaying strong contact balance on a weekly basis. Another strength is Love is a legit receiving weapon. He's not just a check down guy you only see as a reliable bailout. With Love, you can actually move him around, even line him up in the slot. That's where he starts creating mismatches for the offense and making defenses second guess what's coming next. Number 4, strong vision. Love hits the line like he's going straight through it. Then out of nowhere, he bounces it and it's wide open for a big gain down the field. That's vision right there. He's not going to rush anything without seeing the other opportunities the defense is willing to give up. He'll wait it out and take the best lane possible. Number 5, elite ball security. All I need to say for this one is Love went 266 rushing attempts straight without fumbling once. Must I say any more? Very good at protecting the ball. One I see a lot watching clips or just seeing games in general is just his awareness for big hits. So remember how I said earlier, he'll hurdle a defender, take big ass hits, and ultimately just do what's necessary for extra yards. Yeah, it's a lot more risky going airborne than it is impressive. Obviously, teams want a guy who's gonna fight for every inch, and that he will. But they also want a guy who can keep himself healthy by not putting himself in a spot that would land most backs in the blue tent. Remember, college defenders are a different story from the NFL, and even some of the best still get demolished by bigger and stronger guys, which funny enough falls into their next weakness. Lean frame, durability, and workload. Love's build is a bit on the slimmer side at 6 foot and 212 pounds, which has some teams asking what everyone else is thinking. Can Love handle a full bell cow workload every other Sunday? Because we basically drafted you to run the ball more than 18 times on a weekly basis. Some weeks, maybe not, but others, you're this game from start to finish, giving it your full effort. Not where like some weeks he would have like 8 attempts, 13 the week after, and then possibly even 4 the week after that. Which, while the numbers are fantastic, I mean, the guy doesn't need a lot of carries to get you 100 yards, he wasn't asked to have this crazy workload in Notre Dame, only going over 18 itself like 4 different times. I'm sure he can do it, but it's one of those I'd like to see happen first. Because nearly 17 straight weeks of beatdown after beatdown, wear and tear is a real thing. And it's something teams are going to watch closely when seeing if he can really handle the typical NFL workload. And finally, pass protection. I feel like this one's going to be a common occurrence for most running backs here. But anyways, pass blocking with Love is still a work in progress. Against power rushers, he sometimes gets walked back too easily, and that's a common concern when protecting the quarterback. It's fixable, but teams will expect him to develop more consistency in the trenches as the season goes by and if he can adjust to NFL speeds. So overall, where do I think he's going? My thoughts remain the same. I think he's going to go to the Titans. If he doesn't go to the Titans, I think he's going to the Commanders. He's going to be one hell of a running back, and I think he's going to live up to the hype very well. Next up, we have the Robin to Love's Batman. A really nice complementary side who can also be quite the main dish if given the opportunity. To put it simply, think of like Gibbs and Montgomery. They were the college version of that. Love, like Gibbs, might unanimously be the better option and have a far greater career, but that doesn't mean Montgomery's a bad running back. No, he's going to go to Houston and still show he can be an RB1 in today's league. So what I'm trying to get at is, this did not stop Price from showing off his own big flashes of potential on the limited touches they gave him. Rushing for over 600 yards in both 2024 and 2025, scoring 7 and 11 touchdowns respectively with a couple receiving scores on the side, averaging over 6 yards per carry in both seasons, demonstrating explosive efficiency in his attempts. Price has shown he's strong, very fast, high skilled in vision, has great agility, and has an amazing balance that shows it's capable of breaking tackles and making defenders miss. Also, while being able to turn the smallest bit of open space into big gains down the field. Not to mention he also has potential to be a large receiving option despite not getting a ton of targets, only having 15 career receptions entirely. So while you could say that's not enough to say he's going to be a big receiving threat, but when you see him actually get the ball, it looks natural, looks smooth. I mean, he might not be the running back going out there lining up wide, running full routes, or having big route trees, but asking him to be a reliable choice the quarterback can dump the ball into is very realistic. Also, something that stands out is how dynamic Price is just beyond the offense. If you watch the games, you kind of know where I'm going with this one. Kick returns. This guy's elite. If you're not careful on coverage, he's just going to run past you and taking himself for 6. Everything he brings to his run game, he translates it perfectly here as well. So that just adds another layer to his value and really shows the type of player you're getting when you draft him. Price is truly a back you'll bring in early and find a way to make contribute, whether that is only on special teams or just giving him limited carries with hopes he can grow in that large, significant role his upside suggests. I think depending where he lands will be a large difference maker in terms of how fast he'll hit that ceiling and for further future development, because he still has lots of room left for growth. Anyways, let's get into the strength, weaknesses, and I'll give my overall thoughts on who pays the price. For strength number 1, we have elite vision. Price sees everything before it even opens up. He's patient, lets the play develop, then hits the exact lane the defense forgot about. It's not just good vision, he's reading it in real time and reacting faster than everyone else. He'll press one spot, make the defense move, then take what they gave up without forcing anything. Literally the definition of being one step ahead of your enemy. Number 2, versatility. You can plug him into pretty much anything and he's gonna produce. Zone, gap, whatever, I mean he's fine with it. When he's following his blockers, just letting them clear the way, you can see him wait for the right moment, then explode through the gap. So whichever way you play him, just know he's gonna execute when the timing is right. Trait number 3, quick footwork. Price's feet are always active, quick, controlled, and ready to shift at any moment. If a gap closes, he's already moving to the next one. He can bounce, cut, and redirect without losing momentum, which makes defenders miss and gives him space to pick up extra yards. Number 4, he's a return game menace. As I said earlier, Price is a legit home run threat on special teams. He averages over 35 yards a return, and he's already taken 3 to the house on just 22 returns. I mean, I think that says it itself. Just give the guy space, and it's over. He can flip the field or score at any moment without the quarterback even needing to do much. I'm telling you, he's going to make some team happy on his returns. Now for the weaknesses. Limited route tree. So back to the receiving part, when I said he can be a threat, keyword can, he hasn't shown it yet. Not really much tape to go off on to really say, oh, he's going to be a big threat as a running back. But I also think that's just because he wasn't the feature back and probably would have saw more targets had he actually been the guy. Anyways, continuing on what I said earlier, I said do not expect too much when he begins to become a receiving option. Yes, he looks like a natural. Yes, he can catch, and yes, he can provide reliability. But it's not like he's running a full tree or creating mismatches like Love might. I'm sure this one definitely will change as he grows into someone's system, but coming into the league, I think teams would prefer that part of his game was already expanded and he could showcase to being a threat in space, not a to-be-determined mystery. Number 2, short yardage reliability. So when the time comes to get those tough 2-3 yards, that's not really Price's game at the moment. He's more finesse than power, more space than grind it out. If it's there for the taking, sure, he'll pick it up, but asking him to create these 2-3 yards without the blocks and mainly through contact, that's when it gets kind of tricky and becomes a question teams want to know. Because in the NFL, those short yardage situations are a matter between keeping this drive alive and giving the ball back to the other team. So teams want to know, if I draft you, can you consistently move the pile and be the dependable answer for a situation like this? Number 3, ball security. This one's going to get circled immediately. And while some people might say it's a bit of overreaction, like 3 fumbles on just 113 carries, it doesn't sound too bad, and yes, you may be correct. It's not the worst I've seen, but taking into account these 3 fumbles all came near the goal line, that's where it's like, alright, you gotta clean this up. If you can't contain your excitement before exploding all over the scene, then teams will view you as a concernable liability. Easier said than done. If you can't protect the ball and it ends up being the difference maker in us losing, then you could bet your ass is gone. Like, you're more or less likely gonna lose time because of it, so definitely something to improve on. Number 4, durability. This one might come off as a reach since it was so long ago, but for those who don't know, in 2022, Price missed the entire season to repair a ruptured Achilles tendon. Now you might be asking why I bring this up. I do so because I think it's something teams are going to have in the back of their mind. He might be 100% now and has moved past this injury concern, but his durability might still be questioned every week he's playing in the big leagues. He's only 5'11 and 203 pounds, so pair the injury history with his light frame and the fact that he's only averaged about 8 carries per game across the last 2 seasons, with the highest amount being 15, it's just a thought process of can he actually handle being the guy? It's the biggest unknown. Just cause we never seen him in that RB1 position with a heavy workload most RB1s see by now. I'm not doubting his talents, but it's a concern we'll just have to wait midway into the season to find out depending where he lands. And finally, pass protection. As of right now, Price's pass protection sits right at average. He can handle some situations, but he needs to refine both his technique and his ability to read defenders if he wants consistent snaps on tough situations. Teams aren't just gonna stick him out there just because. He's gotta show he can pick up the blitz and keep the quarterback spotless. So overall, what do I think? I think he's going to be a nice number 2. Do I see him as a number 1? Not likely. But it's possible. He still has the upside that gives him an edge when comparing his name to actual RB2s in the league. I think he is better than some at the moment. But there's a reason this class is so frowned upon once Love is off the board. It goes from guaranteed starter to maybe, possibly nice 2, and not so entirely sure you'll even be on a roster 3 years from now. I think if you want to take the best crack at it, you go Price, Coleman, or Johnson, possibly even Washington Jr. Outside of these 4 though, I wouldn't really draft anyone else with a day 2. Most of these backs come off more as a solid contributor than they do future pieces of someone's offense. Let me put it like this. Price is a number 2 this year, but unlike last year's class, I don't even think he's a 7th running back off the board. So yeah, that's how I actually view this class. Might be a sleeper somewhere in between, but it's really a year for those who need to fill out a depth chart more than it is a year you're going to find your franchise guy. So that being said, I see Price having a key role being somebody's sidekick like he was to Love. I think somewhere like Seattle with Charbonnet would be probably the most spot-on take. Dallas with Javonte Williams. Broncos, honestly, keeping it a buck, I think he starts here if Dobbins goes out again. But if he can remain healthy, then I think they share a split. Harvey just ain't it, man. Vikings, potentially, I could see him starting here overall, unless they want to split carries with him and Mason, or even Houston if they don't think Marks is the one after all that should be with Dave Montgomery. Possibly even the Giants. My final pick, though, would have to be Seattle. It just makes too much sense. If he can survive the wave that is all the teams at the start of the second and make it down to the end, I think Seattle's going to call him up. K9's gotta be a tough replacement, but as long as Charbonnet can hold it down, even replacing him with Price probably wouldn't be a bad idea. His floor says it's a good pick, and his ceiling says it's a pick that will make sure the run game remains just as strong, if not even stronger. It's a win-win for the Seahawks who really don't have a lot of draft picks to begin with. That's where I think Jadarian Price will fall. Now we get to the my guy of the class. Well, it's honestly between him and Emmett Johnson. Both backs do not get enough attention. It's crazy. But anyways, I love what Coleman brings to the table, and that's being a one-man wrecking machine. While Love is smooth with it, Coleman is a big-ass bowling ball coming straight for the pins. Stand in his way and find out exactly what I mean. This tiny tank of a man standing at 5'9" and 228 pounds is a straight up bulldozers coming your direction. He's gonna get as physical as he needs to make big gains. While not exactly being the easiest to bring down, if he's coming down, he's at least taking 2 of your guys with him. Because that's just how many it's gonna take to stop his body from pushing forward. If there's only one man in his direction, he's more or less likely just going to bounce off him and take it deep. He might not be the fastest in the class or present home run potential on every carry, but his quickness and agility is just good enough to get the job done and bypass defenders. Over the last couple of seasons, he's shown he can produce consistently, averaging around 5 yards carry with 1,000 rushing in 2024 and 758 and 25, staying under 200 carries in both years with 10 and 15 touchdowns. Not to mention, he also brings legit value in the passing game too, with 25 receptions at Arizona in 23 in 2024 for 177 yards, and last season having 31 catches for 354 yards with 2 receiving touchdowns. Coleman's not just a dump off option if shit hits the fan, but an actual weapon who can create after the catch and pick up real yardage. So when you break his game down, there's a lot to like and a lot to say. He could be a real impact upon arrival to any team that makes the call. So here goes Coleman's strengths, weaknesses, and where I believe he ends up. Strength number 1, contact balance. Again, I didn't call the guy a bowling ball because he's soft as baby shit. I called him a bowling ball because he hits contact and he keeps going. He's going to bounce off defenders instead of going down. You can try to wrap him up, but his leg strength and balance say otherwise. It just really makes it tough to stop. He's able to stay on his feet and he's going to keep pushing for extra yards. Number 2, vision and patience. He's a smart man when the ball is in his hands. His eyes and feet always look like they're working together, letting him hit the right lane at the right time. He's able to follow his blockers, read the defense, and let it all set up before he breaks into the second level. And while in the process, his feet never stop moving while he's searching for space. That's how big runs are created. Number 3, ball security. He has 1 fumble on 396 career touches. If that doesn't tell you he does not fuck up in tough situations, then I don't know what does. I mean, upon hearing that, I'm already going to give this guy the ball and just not look back. I know damn well he's going to go out there and he's going to take care of this thing like his life depends on it. Number 4, yards after contact. See, this is where Coleman shines. His frame, strength, and lateral footwork make defenders miss or bounce off. He can cut, spin, or just power through anyone trying to grab him. And if you're trying to tackle him head on, like most defenders learn eventually, you're not going to bring him down in first contact. He's going to get those extra yards. And number 5, he's a reliable option. Coleman has 87 total receptions when it comes to receiving, so what that tells me is he could step in on passing downs. Now for the weaknesses. Number 1, lack of top-end speed. You probably knew this one was coming, but Coleman's speed is not the speed that's going to make coaches wet at the thought of having him in the run game. It's good, but not great. He doesn't have that open field burst to pull away from defenders. So in other words, if he's on a breakaway run, but you have a defender riding his ass at about the same speed, they're probably going to catch him. His plays come from power and patience, not top-end track speed. I mean, if he had that type of speed, my God, he would not be in running back 3 talks. He would be highlighting the class next to Love. But it's because he lacks in that, that's why we're having this conversation. Number 2, pass protection. Ironic, ain't it? I know I just said the guy's a reliable option. I mean, he's not scared to step up and take on the rushers, but it's a work in progress. He's still figuring out how to really hold his blocks and stay more consistent. So right now, all you're going to get with Coleman is just the effort. Number 3, explosiveness. Coleman's not that much of an explosive athlete either. Like, he's not going to be the one to explode downfield past the defender standing right in front of him. As I said with the top end speed concern, the guy wins with patience and craft. He'll wait it out, let the blockers do their work, carve out a space, and then take what's given once he sees the green light. Number 4, limited route tree. Another common occurrence you're probably going to see with most of the running backs here is just that they are limited on route trees. Coleman is another one to add to the mix. He's not the type to beat defenses deep. His type of game on the passing attack is mostly in quick, safe options, short throws, and easy patterns where he can secure the ball and move it fast. That downfield stuff really isn't his strength, and he doesn't have the route tree to attack defenses vertically. Don't get me wrong, he's still a reliable choice. He's shown it time from time again, but it's nothing crazy to say he's a top tier receiving threat. There are limitations with his receiving abilities. So overall, what do I think? I think he's going to Seattle. Again, I would love to see Price land there with Charbonnet, but I don't think it's happened. I'm just saying, he's got to make it all the way to the end of the second round for that to happen. I mean, Houston can easily say, hey, we'll take Price at 38, or even Minnesota be like, you know what, we'll take him at 49. Seattle holds pick 64, so yeah, they got a long wait to see if Price actually falls. But for how weak the class is, I doubt it. If a team needs a running back, they're not going to hesitate at getting Price early on. So at that point for Seattle, Coleman's got to be next in line for this exact pick, or at least in the third round at number 96. He's already visited HQ, they like him, and he obviously likes them back. I mean, most players would if the Super Bowl champion said, hey, come play for us. But not the point. The visit and meeting went well. He plays in Seattle already, and it'll be a perfect pairing with Charbonnet's speed and agility. So of course, at the right pick, it's one you really can't pass on, especially if you're Seattle needing to address the elephant in the room, and what's going to happen to the run game now that Walker's gone and the chance Charbonnet isn't even healthy to start the year. You need somebody who can come in now and deliver early on. You don't need nothing crazy, but just a consistent chain mover who offers a bit of everything. So if there's no Price, they gotta go Coleman, or at minimum Mike Washington. It's just picking your poison at that point. But since Coleman is my running back 3, I have him being next off the boards. I think he's going to be a damn fine Seahawk. I can't confidently say though that's how it's going to go, but if it was up to me, that's how I would have it playing out. Next up, we have an absolute sleeper. I can't say if he goes before Jonah Coleman, but I do definitely think he does go before somebody like Mike Washington. I don't know, it's a tough debate. I think all three are in the same category. Emmett Johnson is just someone who does not get enough attention. I know we had his name talked about after the combine. It was like, oh, the guy's not that fast or this and that. But, you know, truthfully to all that, I say he's just trust the tape over the metrics. In my eyes, he's one of the only other few backs here that gives off real starting potential vibes. You might not know him yet, I know a lot of people do. But I have a pretty good feeling if you don't, it'll change in a couple years from now when he's producing big numbers on a weekly basis like he was doing with Nebraska. Like once Dylan Raiola went out injured, he was really about the only shine with that offense. Even before that, honestly. He's consistently giving you big performance after big performance. 105 yards, 120, 160, all over 20 carries with 251 total. So if you're worried this guy can't take a load, then look no further. Johnson can take it all. And on top of handling volume, he's also heavily involved in the passing game, having 39 receptions in 2024 and 46 last year for a combined 656 receiving yards. I can't say he's perfect, but from what he demonstrates so far, I mean, stuff like this in today's era is exactly what you want, and exactly why I think he stands a serious chance of carving out a name for himself early on. Just a well-rounded back who's consistent in both areas and can serve well as a true lead back, or at worst, the 1B to someone's A. I don't think a lot of guys are going to be future running back ones from this class, but I think there's enough talent here to say he's going to be around for a good while. He's got the stuff coordinators are going to go crazy with, from simply just giving him the reps and watching him put pressure on defense immediately, or getting him involved on the receiving end as that reliable option you can trust to get the first down. Either way, I think he's a guy you can just bring in early on. He's going to find a way to contribute, and he can create a shit ton of opportunities for big plays down the field. Just feed him the ball is all I say. You will do the rest from there. With Emmett Johnson, there's definitely a lot to go through. So with that, let's get into what Emmett brings to the table, starting with his strengths, then his weaknesses, and I'll give my overall thoughts on where this diamond in the rough falls. Strength number 1, he has great patience and vision. Johnson lets the play develop and doesn't rush anything. He's able to press the line, reads what's there, and once the lane opens up, he's flying out of here. That burst through the hole is what makes it work because he's patient and decisive at the same time. Number 2, creativity. Johnson is a very creative runner, but he's not out there doing too much. He'll stay on track, take what the line gives him, then if it's not there, that's when the footwork shows up. He's real twitchy putting cuts together, and the next thing you know, he's bouncing outside into open space. That's what makes him dangerous. He can follow the play or create a zone at any moment. Number 3, decision making. As I just said with creativity, he knows when to bounce it, when to cut, and when to take what's there. He doesn't try to do too much, but also knows when to turn a normal play into something bigger. That balance is what keeps the offense on schedule and chains moving forward. Number 4, workload and durability. Unlike a few backs here, Johnson showcases for what most backs is a common concern, and that's showing he can handle being the guy. He took on a heavy workload down the stretch, producing 800-yard games while averaging around 19 carries a game. And the more the game went on, the better he looked. He's wearing defenses down and getting stronger as it goes, alerting scouts, hey, I can handle the workload if needed. Number 5, contact balance. Johnson runs low, keeps his legs moving forward, and doesn't go down pretty easy. He'll bounce off tackles, fight through defenders, and push forward for extra yards, always falling forward and getting a little more than what's there originally. Now for the weaknesses. Sometimes he's looking for the home run a little too much. He'll string together one too many cuts trying to bounce it outside instead of just planning and getting upfield. In the NFL, shit like this can end up costing you more than it does benefit the play. Just take what's available. Number 2, top end speed. So as I was saying earlier with trust the tape and not the metrics, what the metrics will show you is he doesn't have top end speed. He's got good speed that's able to get the job done, but he doesn't have that I'm gone bitches type of speed. He's not consistently outrunning high end defenders once he breaks free. So some of those big runs are getting stopped from behind instead of going all the way because he can't home it like other backs on his board. Number 3, pass protection. Like most backs, he brings effort, but it's not consistent. He's still figuring out, recognizing where pressure's coming from, and stepping up the right way. I sound like a broken record as I keep saying this, but if he wants to stay on the field for more passing downs, it's something he's got to clean up and improve on. Overall, best case scenario, you're getting a really solid starter in the right system. A guy who can do a little bit of everything and give you a legit weapon. Worst case, he's still a productive piece in a rotation who brings great versatility to your offense. Either way, it's enough value to say worth a late day 2, possible early day 3 pick. Like most projects, it's just about putting him in the right situation and letting him do what he does best. I have him projected the Raiders somewhere in day 3. Honestly, I might even get surprised and go late day 2. Why do I say Vegas is a great fit? Because I think he belonged best in a committee role where he can still contribute, but isn't asked to be the workhorse he was in Nebraska. Vegas, he would be a great complementary side to Genty for Kubiak to work with, because we know how he does with a dual back system already, stating he'd love to add another set of legs to take some of the load off Genty. Expectations aren't crazy, they just need somebody to come help in the backfield, and I think his versatility will pair up well with what they're looking for. And here's the best part, it's not gonna cost much. Just my 2 cents. I think anywhere he lands will be a fine rotational piece who's used as just a change of pace and for his receiving abilities, with like the slim chance he ever becomes a starter. Because the potential is real, it just has to be the right scheme. My money says the Raiders, but I think anyone can make the call come draft night. Next up, we have Mike Washington Jr., the running back who took the media by storm, running damn near a 4.3, having the fastest 40 time for the 2026 class, rising his name to the top. Well, not completely the top, but he's much more of a consideration now than he was before it. But Washington, he comes as advertised. 6'1", 223, downhill, very physical, and looking to run through you more than around you. He loves contact. And what makes him an interesting prospect for the position is not that he's just a typical power back, he's got some juice when he pounds the hole. And once he gets downhill, he kicks from 0 to 100 real quick and makes things uncomfortable for defenses fast. That right there is where he really thrives. Gaps and inside zone. As soon as he picks up on the momentum, he's hard to be stopped. Now, with that being said, the combine is one thing, and the tape is another. And the tape will suggest he's not a perfect prospect. There are some limitations when it comes to his lateral movement, ball security has popped up plenty of times and is a large argument in most communities when mentioning his name, because 3 fumbles last season, 6 before, and 4 in 2022. Yikes. Just numbers you really don't want to hear when weighing out options. And not to mention, is still developing as a true third down back. So if you're looking for an answer now, I say take with caution. I think with the right amount of work, he can absolutely work out. But I want to say he's an absolute no-brainer if there's other guys on the board like Jonah Coleman or Emmett Johnson. With those 3, I would definitely have a hard time figuring out which one to take. But if you're looking for a physical runner who could bring force to the offense as a backup choice and really nothing more, he's got a role somewhere definitely in this league. A lot of good, a lot of concerns. Let's get into it. Now this is a running back with some power to his frame. 6'1", 223 pounds, a pure fucking muscle. Just looking at him, you can already vision the amount of defenders this guy's about to run through. It's no damn secret, he's hard to tackle. Now, pair that with his elite top-end speed, and you have a walking weapon who can explode at any moment. That combination is like eye candy for these teams, which I'm sure they saw the combine and have seen the games which he's produced against top-end talent to know the speeds Washington's capable of. Truly rare. Number 2, downhill power and physicality. Washington Jr. runs with real intent. Straight downhill, pads low, always falling forward and making defenders pay for even trying to step up. Cornerbacks especially. I know every defender dreams of being the guy to stop the run that saves the game, but if Washington Jr. is coming straight for your direction running as fast as he does, you're probably about to get ran over. Number 3, he hits the hole very fast. Washington's a one-cut type of guy. He sees it and he hits it. No hesitation. All it takes that one cut and he's gone. He's not going to sit back bouncing around and really overthinking it. That's why those inside runs lead to explosions, because he's attacking the lane as soon as he sees it open. Number 4, reliable receiving option. The guy's got reliable hands, can catch checkdowns, and swing past and give you something out on the edge. Of course, don't expect anything crazy with it. He's not a full route tree guy, but he is definitely usable, I will say that. And finally, his competitive mentality. I mean, you saw with the combine, the guy put in so much effort in his run. He was crying after it was done. If that doesn't tell you this dude's heart is in the game, then I don't know what does. I love that. I love how it looks. I mean, even if you've seen him play like against Texas, which was one of my favorite games to watch of his, you can tell this guy who's going to show up when it matters. Like, just upon looking at him, you can tell he plays with that chip on his shoulders and he rises to the moment no matter how big it gets. He competes with the edge to him and he has a mentality that says, I'm here to win. I like it. Now we get to the weaknesses, ball security. See, this one's gonna ring some bells in the head, but you hear bad ball security and your mind jumps to, shit. Which, won't lie, that's pretty valid for all the talent there. Of course, there's gotta be a catch, and this is probably that. More than 10 fumbles over the last 3 seasons is a lot, with 3 exactly just last year. As I said earlier in the video, if you can't protect the football, unfortunately, teams aren't going to trust you with that same ball. And if, of course, they see you as a liability with your hands, there goes your shot. Simple as that. So at Washington, he definitely has to clean up on this massively if he wants to see himself having a role in the league 2-3 years from now. Number 2, pass protection. At the moment, Washington isn't exactly where he needs to be in pass protection. He'll step up, but it's inconsistent. And that's a problem when you're trying to be a 3-down back. Back to what I was saying earlier as well, he's still learning. Teams are going to want to trust him to keep the quarterback clean, and he's not there yet. Number 3, limited route tree. Again, going back to what I said earlier, he's not giving you much as a route runner right now. Most of it is just check downs, screens, simple stuff. Nothing that's really going to have defense on the edge of their seats or on their heels, so until he expands that part of his game, his role on passing downs is going to be limited. Number 4, timing on outside runs. When it comes to outside runs, he can be a little late kicking in the drive. Which in college it might not be as noticeable, but in the NFL where timing matters the most, these lanes can close fast, and just like that, the play's dead. So somebody's going to have to clean up on to stay effective in those schemes. So, overall, what do I think about Mike Washington Jr.? I'll tell you this one, he's going to be a fun one to watch, that's for sure. Depending on where he lands, of course. Bit of a tough one to analyze because the tools are screaming how talented this guy really is, but he still needs more work. A couple of destinations popped to mind if I had to name teams who needed a back like this. Once again, I really love Seattle for most of the running backs here. I'm sure they would be solid attempt at replacing the boy K9 Love, and for the chance they don't pursue Price, and they definitely don't pursue Coleman like lots of people are betting on, getting Washington for the price of a 3rd rounder or day 3 at minimum early on, it's the cost of absolutely nothing for a back who's got nothing but upside to offer if development goes well. Baltimore, not a bad pickup. It really wouldn't be to have him learn under the king. Minnesota, who lives and dies by the run game. At least that's what it feels like lately with JJ McHandoff. I think they can use a back like Washington who provides the speed they've been lacking with Jones regressing about to turn 32 in December. So it's about time to get a young buck to come in there and develop, unless they trust Jordan Mason, or even better, they go get Price themselves in the second round. Jacksonville will be a very interesting spot. I mean, just imagine this. Tuden, Washington Jr., both the fastest backs at their combine, not even a second apart from each other. Like, just imagine that duo on Sundays. Tuden's why they were comfortable moving off ETN, but if they wanted to run it back like how they did last year, splitting carries, and I think adding Washington Jr. to the mix wouldn't be a horrible idea for this electric offense that seems to be finally clicking. Houston, who's an underrated option. Tennessee, if they don't go Love. Vegas, San Francisco, Kansas City, Denver. But of course, my final verdict with it being a tough one, because I think most of the running back draft selections will be affected by Price once he goes. Like, if he goes to Seattle, I think the next back off the board is most likely going to Minnesota, or it's going to go to Washington, and so on and so on. With it being such a weak class, I think once teams start seeing names fly off like Jonah Coleman, Emmett Johnson, they're going to try to be quick and grab the next guy before he's off as well. So with that being said, my guess says Washington Jr.'s heading to Minnesota. Like, if he's there in the third round, they already got their main picks out the way, I don't think they're going to have any hesitation to go and say, put the name in. All I really hope for is that he lands somewhere he can actually develop without unrealistic expectations. Somewhere where he can go hit his ceiling comfortably without rushing the process, and once he's ready, it'll pay itself off. I think he's definitely a name I'll be looking for come day 2 or 3. Next up, Nick Singleton. Torn on this one. I really am at times. I love the potential, and I see him being a future household name. Other times, I think he runs blindfolded, and it pisses me off. He went crazy in 24, then took a seat back in 25 in terms of production. Scoring on the other hand though, dude's got the nose like a detection dog. 13 touchdowns as a freshman, 10 as a sophomore, 17 as a junior, and 14 last season. Only thing about it is he doesn't score from the goal line or 10 yards away. Half of these come off big runs in open space. Like, he can rip a long touchdown at any moment because of his top end speed, but the problem is he's not someone you can rely on consistently to finish drives. Singleton's not really a natural short yardage or goal line back, and he's not that automatic, hey, we need 2 yards, go get it. You know, the type of runner you trust in a tight situation. Aside from scoring, there's a lot to talk about on why he's an interesting prospect teams would turn their head for. For starters, this dude is one hell of a fucking athlete, like at an elite level. The speed tells no lies. He can house it from anywhere on just the smallest bit of open field. And if no one's in reach after he breaks off, and you really ain't doing shit then. You just gotta watch him take it in for 6. It's why the run game was so dangerous. Gotta worry about Kaytron Allen, then you gotta worry about this one breaking loose between the blocks. Secondly, he's a solid passing option with 26 receptions in 2023, 41 receptions in 24, and 24 last year, averaging about 9 yards a catch. You can line him up anywhere really, and it just works because once he gets in space like his run game, that's when he's at his best. He's a walking explosive play ready to happen at all times. The only problem is consistency, because while he can give you those breakaway runs for a 60-yard score or a 20-yard rip out of nowhere, you don't always get the same consistency down and down. There are stretches where, I kid you not, you are going to be asking yourself, where in the fuck is this guy at? Like, there are too many games where the production just isn't there. Too many runs where he's not reading things clean, not hitting holes like he or any other top prospect should, or just not creating anything when the blocking isn't perfect. Consistency is what kills here. Nobody's saying the guy can't play. It's not as obvious. The explosiveness is real. There's potential, and it's why his name is mentioned a lot. It's just a matter of, can he put it together week to week? His vision, his feel, his decision making, or is it always going to be flashes instead of full game workloads? So once he's off his injury, one wonders which Singleton these teams are going to get. Either you're getting a high upside running back with large potential that's going to be consistent and going to carve out a name for himself in the league, or another Donovan Edwards, someone who had it all but couldn't put it together. A good college running back, but nothing beyond that. Anyways, let's get into his strengths, weaknesses, and I'll give you my thoughts. Strength number 1, big play ability. Singleton's got home run hitter potential every time he touches the ball, from the burst to his acceleration. With him, it's almost instant. If he can see it and if the defense doesn't close quick, he's already through the lane and gone for 40. And once he hits the second level, ain't a damn person on that field touching it. Number 2, downhill power. Shoulder square, speed turning into power on contact. Like, he's not just fast, he's got some force behind his runs, and it shows. I mean, I don't know if the combine touched on it. He has a squat record of fucking 570 pounds. That's pretty insane. And of course, you see the strength every time he hits somebody. A perfect fit for those power gap schemes where you just let him hit and go. Number 3, his versatility and receiving ability. As I mentioned already, with Singleton, he can line him out wide, in the slot, wherever, and he's comfortable catching the ball. He's able to track it well downfield too, which isn't something you see from every back on his list. It's where the mismatches can start happening. Number 4, patience and vision. Only when it clicks, I'm telling you, he's as sharp as they come. Other weeks, he's got the vision of fucking Helen Keller. I'm gonna consider it a strength because I hope he can remain consistent, but anyways, when his vision isn't somewhere to below average or terrible, it's just good enough to where he'll let the play develop, follow his blockers, and then explode right out as soon as it opens. Patience mixed with his burst is what makes him so dangerous, because once he sees an opening with no stop signs in front of him, he only knows one thing, and that's how to take it home. And now we get to the weaknesses. Number 1, limited elusiveness. Singleton's more straight line to make you miss. He's not the type to shake defenders in tight spaces, only relying on power and speed to jam through it. If there's no lane, he's not always going to create one of his own. Number 2, zone vision and processing. Like I said earlier, completely with his vision. It's hit or miss, and it applies here as well. Zone runs aren't always clean with Singleton. Sometimes he's a step late reading it, or doesn't feel the cutback right away. And in the NFL, as I said earlier on Mike Washington, where timing is important, going to be more precise with it instead of missing on the opportunity. Number 3, lateral quickness. Singleton's not putting together quick cuts when things break down. If defenders can get into the backfield early and disrupt the play, he's going to struggle as well. That's where plays can get blown up before they even start. And finally, durability concerns. It was either at the Senior Bowl or the Combine where they ended up coming out saying I think he was suffering from a broken foot. Either way, teams are going to keep in track of this. On top of noting down all the other small injuries he's faced in his college career, that was so they can ask themselves the question, is his burst always going to be there, because that's a big part of his game, and can he be durable at the next level, dealing with NFL defenders and facing an NFL workload? Overall, if he can just clean it up, he is going to be a massive steal. I'm telling you, I think he is one of the most talented backs in this draft. It's just, if everything was all put together, if he was polished, if he didn't have flaws, I'm telling you, he would be one of the top names. But it's because he has that is why he's here. But like I'm telling you, if he could just fix it all together, this is going to be a guy we're going to be punching ourselves over because he should have went higher. But if he carries on like how he performed in 2025, I can't say I see a gigantic role in his future. Is he a risk? Depends on the pick. For the right price, it's a chance worth taking. You invest too high, especially if other names are on the board, not even just for the position, then it might come back to bite you in the ass if it doesn't work. My way of seeing it, the flaws are indeed coachable. That speed though with the size, you cannot teach stuff like that. If you can only get the good with Singleton, I'm telling you, he's a pick I would make a million times out of a million. All it really takes is the right landing spot, a couple years of development, and he's a big name in the league. The right system can have this man looking like the next James Cook. But what makes it difficult is you have teams who believe they can fix him, and instead of making him much better and hitting his ceiling, they have him on a one-way ticket to somebody's bench or completely out the league by the end of his rookie deal. He presents a big upside. You just gotta work with him and make sure he stays consistent. If it was up to me, I like the Saints as a fit. Killers that they really are done with Emmett Johnson, which I doubt, but I haven't really seen them doing too much with the guy. And if they want a better pairing to Rico Dotto than Jaylen Warren, who's okay, but nothing too impressive in my books. Or just any team out there is looking for a rotational back who offers big play potential and third down value. If he's here day 3, I think a lot of teams are going to start looking his way. Chiefs, Chargers, Cowboys, Texans, Buccaneers, Falcons, Bengals, maybe even the Eagles. My money says Saints double down at the position to pair him up with ETN if they want to have a split committee, but don't want to waste a lot for one. Kamara's not the same guy, and I really will not be looking at him as an option at all going into next season. He's regressed and he doesn't look to be getting any better, and I just don't believe anybody else on this depth chart offers anything Singleton doesn't, with more attached. So Saints take the do-it-all back somewhere day 3. I just hope he lands in a system that can just help him hit his ceiling, because this is one fun player to watch. Next up, we have Kaytron Allen, the complete opposite of his duo. While Singleton feels like an elite athlete playing running back, Allen is the natural, plays his spot perfectly. Not relying on pure athleticism to bail him out, he just knows how to run the ball. And also, you can even argue he was actually the more reliable back between the two before it became obvious in 25. Put it like this, Allen might not be as fast, might not be that great of an athlete, but I would trust him to go make something out of nothing than I would Singleton, who runs headfirst into any defender he can find like it was the objective. And it pains me they didn't run him any more than they did already. Now, while I think both can succeed, both are great backs, and I think they both will make names for themselves at the next level, if I had to place my money on which back has the longer career, I probably would have to go with Kaytron Allen, just because he feels more ready and provides the consistency teams are looking for. You might not be getting a ton of flashy 60-yard house calls or knowing any run could be a home run, but you're getting a dude that will get you 4, 5, 6 yards and keep the offense on schedule. Somebody that knows how to wear a defense down over the course of a game. He's the type where it's 2nd and 6, you have a damn good feeling handing him the ball, and when it's 3rd and short, you really feel good about it then. Coaches are gonna love him. He's got the natural feel, like I mentioned earlier, where he'll press the line, let things develop, then hit the hole without jumping around too much. And once he gets moving, he's not as easy to bring down. Running into him is like running into a steel beam. It's gonna fucking hurt. And when you do get him, he's most likely falling forward and picking up extra yards. He's also a lot more well-rounded than people give him credit for as a receiving option. He's not out here running crazy routes or lining up wide like Singleton, but he can catch the ball, he's reliable, and he's shown he can handle the role when needed with 18 receptions in 25, 18 receptions in 24, 14 in 2023, and 20 in his first year. Again, not as great as Singleton, but hey, it's reliable, and I can think of a lot of teams who'd love that bailout option. So of course, everything sounds great, but the reason he's probably not as talked about or even having less mentions than Singleton is just the ceiling. In the nicest way possible, Kaytron is nothing elite. He shows nothing crazy or game-changing, just a high floor with that low ceiling that says you ain't getting anything outside what he's shown he's capable of already. From everything you've seen, that's it. He's not beating defenses with elite speed, he's not turning every touch into a potential score, which in today's league, most teams want a back whose first name is explosiveness. Big plays change games, and it's why breakaway runners are usually the first ones off the board. What Allen does works, but it's what puts him in a category of solid, serviceable at best. You look at him and say reliable. You look at someone like Love and you say future cornerstone piece. That's the difference. If he had Singleton's speed, for example, this wouldn't even be a conversation. He'd be a back that the defense are terrified to play every week. Right now, he's just good, and there's a great chance that's the best he'll ever be. On top of that, there's a real possibility he gets labeled as more of a 2-down back in the NFL, which can limit how teams use him and cap his overall impact. Either way, here's his strengths, weaknesses, and my thoughts. With Kaytron, you can run him in anything. Zone, gap, he's still comfortable. Press the line, let it develop, pick the right lane, and just go. He's not guessing from the back. He's reading the play as it goes and taking what's open. Number 2, power and physicality. So when you look at his build, you see a thick frame, and of course, you see a running back that's built for contact. Runs with a forward lean and is always falling forward when coming down. He's the type that's going to push through tackles and pick up extra yards even when it's not clean. Strength number 3, footwork. For being a bigger back at 5'11 and 216 pounds, his feet are better than you'd expect. He can work through traffic, slide through tight spaces, and still finds way into the open field. Not the flashiest movement in the world, but it's good enough to be just effective. Number 4, build up speed. Once Allen can get going downhill, it's going to be a problem. He could rapidly build speed fast, in which at that point, defenders got to stand in front of what feels like an incoming train, and most defenders don't really want to do this. And finally, he's a red zone menace. See, there's one thing I don't know how to do that Allen does a lot of, and that's knowing how to score. 15 rushing touchdowns last season with 39 total over his time at the pen. So if we need someone to punch in or close out a game late, Kaytron is your man. He's somebody who found first and goal. I am handing him that ball and not looking back. Now for weaknesses. Number 1, limited top end speed. Kaytron might be strong and he sure might be physical, but the man is not a burner. This is where Singleton gets the upper hand and what makes him more of an attractive prospect. As I said earlier, Allen does not have the breakaway speed to consistently turn runs into home runs. Quick enough to hit the holes, but not explosive enough to take it home. Number 2, route tree limitations. Again, unlike Singleton, this is where he wins of the two. Allen can only really catch screens and checkdowns, but that's pretty much the best you'll get. He's not the type to line up in a slot and run a full route tree. He's just not built for it athletically. Number 3, pass protection. Again, I sound like a broken record, but like other running backs, he shows up, but it's just plain effort. He's willing to step up, but sometimes it's just a technique that slips, he'll lower his head, and then he'll lose track of the blitz. Something definitely he can improve on as he gets into the league. Number 4, limited elusiveness. So once Allen's able to hit traffic, he's not making defenders miss with flashing moves. He's relying on power and straight line running, not elusiveness or advanced cuts. Overall, I like Allen, I really do. He's one of those backs that might not get crazy hype, and he doesn't come off with this crazy ceiling, but he ends up sticking around and producing well. Right team, right role, and he's giving you real value. At his best, he's a poor man's Dave Montgomery or even a Tyler Algier. And for a day 3 pick, I mean, it's a steal. So based on the teams he's claimed to have met, I picked 2 I really like. Just my opinion, but I think the best destinations will be between Kansas City and Houston. Just because, one, as a Chiefs fan, every mock draft I've seen made for us has him going in the 5th or 6th round, and plus we can use the depth behind K9 and Hunt, and it's also a room he can sit and develop his game to eventually take over once Hunt decides I don't know what's next. Houston, same thing. I've seen mocks of them snatching up some running back in the later rounds, from Singleton himself, Washington Jr. late day 2, Kaytron Allen in like the 6th, or even Kalen Black also in the 6th. So for the chance they do add someone and all the names above are gone, I think they add him to the run game mix. That's mostly going to be Montgomery and Marks. Eagles met with him, I can see that happening. Chargers, Atlanta with Robinson and Robinson Jr. Hold up, now thinking about it, that room is going to be an absolute mindfuck for fantasy owners. Anyways, I also like Arizona as a destination. Lots of teams can use a physical runner as a solid second option, but my final pick is he's coming to the kingdom to eventually replace Hunt and pair with Walker. And to close out this video before it gets too long, we have Jamari Taylor. I'll admit, I didn't see much Virginia football this year, besides maybe 3 or 4 games. Like, definitely the one against Duke, Florida State, the Wolfpack, and I think probably against Cal. Outside of that, didn't see a whole lot to say. I saw Taylor play live every other week, like I did with Love or the Penn State duo. So excuse me if I sound uncultured, I'm just going off what I've seen on the clips I could find. But from what I see, he reminds me of like a larger Bucky Irving, which feels wild to say considering I think Bucky's like 5'11", where Taylor's only like 5'9", but he's also like 205, where Bucky's like 195 itself. Either way, I like it, and why he reminds me a lot like Bucky is the vision, the quickness, and contact balance, which his contact balance alone is elite itself. And like Bucky as well, he appears to be a very sharp receiving option. Not flashy with it, but he is reliable with 43 receptions last season for 253 yards and 29 in 2024 for 257 at North Carolina Central. You can check it down, trust his hands, and he'll get you something. Might not be big, but it is helpful and it is effective. And more importantly, unlike some backs on this list, he'll stay in on third down tough situations, step up, hold his ground, take a hit in pass protection, and not mess up the play. Doesn't need to be perfect blocks, but you can't be a screw up either, which in this league, that's how you stay on the roster. Now, back to his rushing ability. Again, didn't see a whole lot, but from what I did see, Taylor runs like every snap is his last. By that, I mean it's either do good and get more carries or have the rug pulled completely under you. Cause, fun fact, he was a 0-star walk-on at North Carolina Central, so he's got the mentality to not fuck up any opportunity thrown his direction. It's why he contributes so much. You already had Chandler Morris passing where it felt like a billion attempts a game, then the backs he had behind him who didn't look too bad themselves. So he made every carry matter as if he had something to prove. He wasn't the guy like most running backs who've been in the system for a while and can see the next carry week after week. And that's what I love with Taylor. Getting no wasted plays. He's going to take the handoff and he's going to ram his way by. Whether that's in between the tackles or making his own lane. He sees and he goes. And if there's contact, I feel more sorry for who's on the receiving end than I am him, because it's the same thing as standing in front of a moving truck. This bowling ball size of a man is about to mow shit down. Hell, it was the Florida State game where on the replay, you see a defender pop his ass, full speed, you sure, boom! That guy goes down and here's Taylor bouncing off like a pinball, and now he's in the end zone for 6. Crazy. With every run, catch, you get toughness, so when you put it all together, you're looking at a dude that can come in early, contribute, and make a spot for himself on most NFL rosters. Now, at the moment, I can't say he's going to be anything big because there are limitations and concerns, but I think for what he offers, we can at least expect at best him to be somebody's high-end running back too. And I say someone's because I don't believe he fits every system. Some I think will help his career for the better, others will hinder what he can truly be. I mean, if shit clicks, he'll be great otherwise. At worst, he's hanging on to the roster by a string. Here's Taylor's strength, weaknesses, and where I think he'd fit best. Strength number 1, he's got that workhorse durability. Something that stood out is him carrying the load of Virginia, rushing 222 times, holding up pretty well, staying productive and averaging about 5 yards a carry. And with this, he was able to show he can handle a heavy workload without breaking down, averaging around 15 to 18 carries a game. Number 2, burst and long speed. Once Taylor can see it, he hits it fast. That burst is real and he's got enough speed to turn a crease into a big run. Number 3, contact balance. I just love me a running back that does not go down easy, and Taylor's another one to add up there. He keeps his legs moving, fights for contact, and falls forward consistently, making defenders work for every tackle. Number 4, ball security. This is a damn video game stat if I've ever seen one. 576 carries. You know how many fumbles he has? 2. 2 fumbles on 500 plus carries. That's elite. You can trust him with the ball, especially late, because you know he's not going to go out there and choke with the game on the line. How many backs in the 6th round can you say gets value like this? Number 5, lateral quickness. With Taylor, he's got quick feet in tight spaces. He can jump into lanes, make subtle moves, and keep plays alive without wasting time. And finally, his receiving ability and versatility. So as I mentioned at the start talking about Taylor, he's more than just a check down guy. He's got soft hands, you can move him around a bit, and he can actually give you something in the passing game. 97 catches throughout his college career with just 43 last season for 253 yards, averaging around 6 yards a catch. That's some real production. And again, this type of value in the 5th or 6th round is what I would consider a steal. Now for the weaknesses. Weakness number 1, power limitation. Taylor runs tough, that's no doubt, but he's not exactly going to be overpowering defenders. He's got more grit and balance than just straight up power. He's not the type to just run through people consistently. Possible? Yes. Always? Not so much. Number 2, pass protection. This one's not as bad as it sounds. It's good for what he offers right now. He'll step up, but the technique gets a bit messy. It's too often he's just throwing his body into defenders instead of really locking in and controlling the block. So I mean, it's better than nothing, but it definitely is something that needs some cleaning up. Number 3, receiving consistency. But this one's kind of a double-edged sword, so even with the volume, he's shown that his hands can be reliable, but then you'll have moments where they're not. 10 drops over his college career, including 5 last season. Not a pretty sight. It's definitely something teams are going to notice. Most of the time, he will bring it in, but you also got to worry, will I get his good hands today, or am I going to get the butterfingers? And finally, size and durability. Standing at 5'9", 204, I feel like this is also why he's not that much hyped up of a name. He's undersized. And of course, that's going to get tested at the next level. Because here's my no shit Sherlock moment, NFL defenders hit different. And teams are going to want to see how he holds up taking those kind of shots consistently week after week. At the end of the day, Taylor's just one of those backs who does everything the right way a team would like. From the vision, to his patience, to the burst, and his toughness. The talent stands out like a cold sore. He proved he can handle a workload, so it's not like you're taking a shot in the dark with him on your pick. The only real thing is just cleaning up the little stuff, the drops, pass protection, and just being more consistent on 3rd downs. If he can fix all, he's going to find himself on the field more often and behind a committee. Of course, as most backs on this list as well. Like, all of them are good options, it's just a lot of them need to put it together. Again, I didn't see a whole lot, but I wish I did. He comes off as a sleeper, no question. He's not getting crazy high, so you're probably looking at a day 3 type of guy. I'm saying round 5, maybe round 6, possibly at minimum round 7. I don't think he falls all the way to round 7, but the draft is just weird like that. I mean, it's always a possibility. So of course, if he goes there, that's where it gets interesting, because if he hits, it's a steal. Straight up. But if you reach on him, let's say in the 5th round, expecting a full 3-down back guy right away, as with any other back on these boards, when it's been full blast in everyone's face, this class is weak, you might be asking for a bit too much. My way of seeing it, this is the type of back you take late, develop, and let himself grow into a role. Probably never the guy or a feature back, but he sure can be one hell of a complementary option to your system if all goes well. He's got real production, real traits, and enough versatility to carve out a role with his name on it. It just comes down really to the landing spot and how he's used. And since he's most likely going to fall past the 5th round, my prediction's not going to be right, but I like the Lions. Long term, as a Chiefs fan, I'll tell you myself, you're going to get sick of Pacheco. I love the guy, but man, he was really not the same after injuries. So either when he leaves Detroit after next season because he's on a 1-year deal, or potentially gets hurt because that guy can't stay healthy for shit, you could have Taylor to step in and fill the cleats. To me, that'd be the perfect destination, and with the setup they have now, it gives him his whole rookie season to sit and develop, and potentially take over as part of the committee with Gibbs in year 2. Either way, he's a talent who grinded his ass off to get to where he's at now, so I have no doubt in my mind he's going to give it his all to whoever takes him. Just another sleeper I say keep your eye on. And that will do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching another random recap. I really hope y'all did enjoy the video. I tried my hardest. I mean, I do it with every single video. You know, I put hours, weeks into this content, and I do it all for you to enjoy. I want to quickly apologize for not being able to rush out more draft content. I mean, trust me, shit's been busy. So I've been trying my hardest, and I'm really working on getting the Edge Rusher video out by next week. But all that being said, once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next random recap.